What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the JT Sports Podcast. I'm your host, JT, joined by my guy, Luke G, longtime friend of the channel. We're on to give a deep dive of the NFL Divisional Round games. We're going to start off talking Commanders, Lions. Then we're going to transition to the Rams, Eagles, and then the game that everybody's anticipating the most, Josh Allen versus Lamar, and then we got Texans versus Chiefs. My guy Luke G, what up though? How we living? How we feeling, my guy?
Listen, living good, feeling great. And I'm ready to talk some real ball. I don't know how the Ravens Bills game is the most anticipated game when they just came out that the Lions has the highest selling ticket, not including the Super Bowl.
Man, I just guess
So
from the MVP race, you got Josh Allen versus Lamar. Everybody's trying to see, whoever wins that game, if they have what it takes to take down the Sith Lord that is Mahomes. But a lot of people are excited about that Lions Commanders game. You got Jaden Daniels playing really well. Dan Campbell gave him high praise. You got Dan Quinn versus Dan Campbell, two of the most aggressive and successful coaches in the league when it comes to converting on fourth down. So I could see that being a great game too.
and in all honesty, the point spread on that game, they're expecting like I think it's like 8.5. So I think they're expecting the Lions to like not only win the game, but to do it handily. So but no, I mean, this is a good time to if you a Lions fan, if you a Eagles fan, if you a Commanders fan, if you a Rams fan, Ravens, Bills, Texans, or Kansas City, it's a good time for you. All the other teams is mad. They at home, right? So this is a good time to be a fan of those teams and to see what you can produce from that. So I'm ready to talk about it, break down what I expect from these games and how I see these games going. Just FYI, I got a few upset alerts on the building, so just be mindful that I got that brewing.
Everybody, this is Luke G. Make sure that you subscribe to his channel. He posts great Detroit Lions content. The people have been missing him, but he has been a little bit more active as of late. And make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Check us out wherever you get your podcasting stuff from. Apple, Spotify, Amazon. The JT Sports Podcast is available. The links are down in the description. So we got the battle of the Dans, Luke G. Dan Campbell versus Dan Quinn. Commanders versus Lions. You got two head coaches that are two of the most aggressive in the game when it comes to going for it on fourth down. And they also are very successful when they decide to go for it. They have a very good understanding of situational football, good clock management late in games. How do you feel this battle of the Dans is going to play out? Who do you think is going to end up winning this matchup when it comes to the battle of these coaches?
I know a lot of people going to look at this matchup and think it's going to come down to Dan Campbell's head coaching ability versus Dan Quinn's head coaching ability. And the reality is this is going to come down to the pure talent of the players. And when you look at that, if a coach makes a dire decision that's going to interfere with their players' ability to make the plays, then yeah, I agree. You're going to have a hard time and a lot of issues with it. But the reality is this: the Lions is winning this game. It's not even close. The Lions is winning this game. Everything lines up for them to win this game. The only thing that can stop them from winning this game is the Lions. The Lions are the only ones who can stop themselves from winning this game. And when you look at the way it breaks down, it's simple. Like, they can't stop the run. They struggle against the run. You look at their game against the Bears. The Bears don't got no dominant offensive line. DeAndre Swift went crazy, right? So you had a problem with DeAndre Swift. Jimmy Gibbs has got problems too. We're getting David Montgomery back. Your linebackers, good luck trying to cover Sam Laporta. So all of these things that are occurring are nothing more than proof positive to me that the Lions is winning this game. I know that there are defensive concerns and things like that, the mobile quarterback and all that stuff. I get it. I get it. They can't run the ball. They run game against the quarterback, and I feel like our defense is going to do enough to stop them. Where I can see them getting us is if they learn how to move the pocket and really go after our linebackers with their tight end Ertz. If they can get that going, they're going to have a chance. My issue is we got enough talent on the team to say, you know what, take the linebackers off of covering Ertz and put, say, like Iffy on them, right? Put Brian Branch on them, right? We got that ability. And when you have that ability to do that, that's all you really want to do, right? So to me, the Lions is winning this game, not even close.
I feel like the Commanders got a shot, man. I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled off this upset with the injuries that the Lions have on defense. You got Jaden Daniels playing like a veteran quarterback. He was the first rookie quarterback to win a playoff game since Russell Wilson in 2012. And Dan Campbell gave Jaden Daniels a lot of praise with the way that he's able to function within the pocket, the way that he's running the offense, how clutch he's been late in games. I think that this game has a high possibility of becoming a shootout, Luke G. You got a Lions defense that has, yeah, like this Lions defense has been in a good amount of high scoring games, Luke G. And with the way Jaden Daniels is playing, I'm going to have a hard time seeing y'all defense get off the field because I saw Todd Bowles struggle against Jaden Daniels last week, and Todd Bowles is one of the better defensive minds in the game. And it's like, as talented as what the Lions are, let's not act like this defense doesn't have a lot of guys that are in the emergency room right now on our hospital bed. So it's like, I feel like the Commanders got a really good chance of being able to keep this a competitive game as long as nothing severe happens to Jaden Daniels. Unless he ends up having to exit the game with concussion or whatnot, like, I feel like he's going to give Aaron Glenn's defense hell because y'all have struggled against the mobile quarterbacks in the past. And the difference between the mobile quarterbacks the Lions have gone up against compared to Jaden Daniels is that Jaden Daniels is actually throwing that pill. He's better throwing the football than any other mobile quarterback you guys have been up against that has given y'all problems. And I feel like with how much control and command he has over this Washington Commanders offense, this probably ends up being a game that's decided 28-31, 34-31. Like the Commanders, they ain't get here by no fluke. You know, Jaden Daniels has had probably the greatest rookie season in NFL history. I'm really going to have a hard time seeing y'all running away with this game.
I'll put it like this. Let's go back to the first thing. Dan Campbell did what every coach doing it in this league. They praise the other team, talk about all the great parts about them, but on the inside, he's already knowing that his team is going to win. That's one. Two, Jalen Daniels deserves the praise that he gets. I think he's a good player, and that's a beautiful thing. But if you're telling me it's going to be a shootout, then I'm telling you they definitely losing. And if you're telling me that you don't think it's going to be a blowout, I'm telling you it's definitely going to be a 14-point win. Because the one thing about it is this. You're forgetting all the other interchangeables. This game is sold out, standing seats as well. It was loud for the Vikings. The Vikings talked about it. It was loud. Jaden Daniels is better than mobile court. He's better than Josh Allen. That guy's in the MVP rush running, right? And so the difference between that is while I think he's got speed, I think he's got talent, that's great. If that's what it's going to take for them to beat us, it's not enough because we are shown that we can score. We have very few downs that are empty, right? But when you break it down, like in all honesty, and you really look at it, they have more deficiencies than us. Even though our defense ain't healthy, guess what? If you can't stop the run in the playoffs, it's a long day. It's a real long day. And when you go through and you look at these games, and this is one of the reasons you brought up Todd Bowles. Like, you know I'm a Lions fan. I'm also a Bucs fan, and I'm a Seahawks fan too. Don't judge me. These are facts, right? I don't like Todd Bowles as a head coach.
Me neither.
In fact, I believe that they lost that game because of Todd Bowles. You ran Bucky Irvin early, and he was having success. and you just went away from it to do what? To make Baker Mayfield a hero, right? So guess what that tells me? The difference is with the Lions is we're gonna run who's running, and if he's running, he's running. And you get David Montgomery back that you can sprinkle in on top of that. We got 4 running backs we can rotate in at any point in time and cause havoc. I don't see how Washington keeps up with that. And what's the word on Payne's injury? Deron Payne. Is he going to be healthy, a full go for this game?
Right now, it seems like he's questionable to play at the moment.
Yeah, see, it's all bad. It's getting worse by the moment.
Right now they say he's limited. He's limited this week.
But I'm just saying, just look at what you saw in that game. That game right there. If you look at Washington's Commanders, most of their games, they had like 5 games that they won on the last play. You ain't gonna keep this up. So this is the playoffs.
So my score prediction is I got Lions 34-28. What's your final score prediction?
You got Lions 34 who?
I got Lions 34, Commanders 28.
I got Lions like, I'm going to be honest with you when I say this, don't laugh at this, true story, this is how I feel. I believe we win like 42 to like 17 or 20. Like I expect them to beat the brakes off of them. I don't, like everybody talking about, oh, Scary Terry. What about Scary Amon Ra? Like, yeah. what about Scary J-Mo? What about Scary Laporta? It is too much firepower over there. In fact, if the Lions lost this game, this would be a huge blow to Ben Campbell's coaching, career, because there's no way possible. You have the whole home crowd behind you. You playing a rookie quarterback who's going to be forcing a lot of passes, and you have the secondary to make those. We're getting healthy at the right time. I just don't see how this is not going to be a beatdown of them. I just don't see it.
Everyone, this is our guy, Luke G. He is the host of Luke G's Field Review. Make sure that you guys go ahead, subscribe to his channel, check him out. He has very good content. Shout out to everybody showing love in the chat. Shout out to Joseph Scrubro. Shout out to my guy with the bunch of G's and D's. He says, love your content. Greatly appreciate that. Next game that we have to discuss, Luke G. Now, this should be a really interesting one. You got a Los Angeles Rams team that right now is playing their best football at the right moment. I mean, they completely annihilated and obliterated the Minnesota Vikings this past Monday night. They were tied for the most sacks in a playoff game at 9. And I believe that with how much this defense has improved when it comes to getting after the quarterback, Jalen Hurts is going to get rattled against this Rams pass rush. He didn't really look that great against the Green Bay Packers last week. Saquon Barkley mostly carried the load in that game. The Rams, they haven't allowed more than 9 points in 4 out of their last 5 games. And one of those games came against the Seahawks when they benched their starters for that matchup. So I really like the Rams' chances of being able to pull off this win, although the last time they played the Eagles, it was a 20-37 loss. They're playing way better football now than what they were the last time they played. And their offense, with them seeing this defense for a second time, with how great of an offensive mind Sean McVay is, and we know what Matthew Stafford does in the postseason, maybe the Rams could find a way to crack the code to having success against the Eagles, who have had the #1 defense in the league. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I have the Rams winning this game. I think that if you go into this game, the only thing you need to ask yourself is, what do I need to do to win? And this stops Saquon Barkley. If you slow him down, it's ball game. I'm not knocking Hurts. I think Hurts is cool, but I think Hurts is still partially hurt. I think that concussion is still lingering. I think he did enough act right to get back in the game. But when I watched him in that last game, and I'm thinking to myself, like, God, you didn't look that well. You looked a little sluggish. You looked a little off. And the one thing about the Rams that I'm looking at is that beat down that they just put on the Vikings, it was a confidence builder. The defense is high, it's all get out. The running game is high. Stafford is on another level right now in terms of what he's willing to do to get things done. I got the Rams winning this game. I think that this is another reason why I see my Detroit Lions going to their first Super Bowl, because I got the Detroit Lions and the Rams meeting in the NFC Championship. And I just think when you look at the Eagles team, how they had the slow start and things, I think they should have just went on and let Saquon Barkley get his individual record, because that's about as much glory they could have had for this season. I think it's over after this playoff game happens on Sunday, and I think that the Rams are going to go into Philly ready to rock and roll. Plus, they're playing with something behind them. They're playing for those people in LA and in the community who have lost their homes to this wildfire, and the people who are on the front lines trying to stop it in its tracks. And so those things are things that I look at and I say, yo, these are things that could propel a team. But I just don't think that the Eagles are focused enough, because they're going to put everything into their ability to slow down and stop Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, and the thing with Jalen Hurts is that he's not a bad quarterback, but to me, I feel like his stock is wildly inflated by the Super Bowl run the Eagles had a few years ago when he had a great game against Patrick Mahomes and that loss. But ever since then, it seems like he hasn't really had that same level of play. And the Philadelphia Eagles are, one of the bottom 5 teams in the league when it comes to passing attempts per game. So that kind of shows you what the identity of this offense is. Now, what concerns me is the Rams' run defense isn't all that great. Their pass rush and their pass defense is a lot better than what their run defense is. So if Saquon Barkley does run wild in this game, do the Rams still find a way to eke out the victory? Because I still like the Eagles to win, however, despite the fact that Jalen Hurts can come out rattled. Saquon Barkley, he's the closer. He's the dude who has always been consistent for them down the stretch in these kinds of matchups. That's who they're going to lean on. And that defense, it could be a wash between the two, because they do have an elite secondary that's number one against the pass. They give out the least amount of big explosive plays. And the Rams do have a good group of receivers, but Puka Nacua has been the only one really stepping up. We haven't really heard much out of Cooper Kupp. So my score prediction, I got Eagles 20 and I got the Rams 13.
Wait, so you got the Eagles beating the Rams?
Yeah, like even though I feel like this pass rush can make Jalen Hurts get uncomfortable, they can make him get rattled. Just offensively out of the Rams, a big reason why they beat Minnesota was because Matthew Stafford is one of the best quarterbacks against the blitz. We know that Brian Flores likes the blitz more than any other defensive coordinator in the league, and that's a huge reason why they won that matchup. The Eagles don't blitz as much, and with how well Vic Fangio has been calling plays for this unit and how stout that secondary is, I haven't seen enough out of Cooper Kupp or any other receiver outside of Puka Nacua to really give me confidence that the Rams are going to be able to put up 20 against this Eagles defense. And with how well the Eagles defense can play in this game, as long as Saquon Barkley continues to have the success that he had last week, I don't really see the Eagles losing this game, which is why I'm taking them to win in a low-scoring 20-13 slugfest.
I'll put it this way. I think that that's a fair assessment. I think that everything you point out, I can rock with. The only issue is you went up against a Packer team at home that was really down, right? And it was not at its best. And the quarterback threw a bunch of bad passes, right? Stafford is a gunslinger, and he's going to throw a bad pass here and there. He just don't care. he just don't care. You want to take Puka away? Cool. It ain't like Cooper Kupp ain't out there, right? It's not like he's not out there. It's just that Cooper Kupp is the guy that people are making sure that don't get going. And then what did he do? What did he do when they started trying to jump on Puka? Right? Like you remember what he did when he did that? He started going to Cooper Kupp. When they started jumping on Cooper Kupp, he found the tight end. And when they fought the tight ends, started going to the tight ends, he went to the running back. And I just don't think that the Eagles have enough to do it because the Eagles' biggest thing is they're going to have to generate a lot of pass rush that not only gets home but affects the play. Okay? If they can do that, if they can generate the pass rush to affect the play, all right, cool. I don't think they can do it. I don't. And the only way they're going to do it is to blitz. And he's going to find Puka. He's going to find one of the running backs or Coop or something like that. It's something like that's going to happen. I just think that this is one of the games where everybody's expecting to see the Lions versus the Eagles. And I'm like, yeah, I think the Rams going to hurt their feelings. I think the Rams is really going to do it.
So what's your score prediction?
My score prediction is Rams. It's going to be rough, but I got Rams 34, Eagles 24. I got them beating the Eagles by 10. Yep. I think once the Rams get up, it's going to be hard to keep running Saquon. It's going to be hard to keep running Saquon. They're going to put all their attention on stopping Saquon until – because you got to remember, before Saquon was there, Jalen Hurts was tested. What you going to do? You ain't got these things here. How you going to respond? And he didn't respond well. So they're going to take away his comfortability, which is Saquon Barkley, and see what he do.
The Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills. You have the battle of the two quarterbacks who are leading the MVP race. Lamar versus Josh Allen. Is this going to be the year that one of these guys can take down the Sith Lord that is Patrick Mahomes? The outcome of the game is going to have a great indicator of how maybe next week could go against Kansas City, because whoever wins this game is going to have a lot of momentum. The last time these two teams met up during the regular season, the Ravens dominated, but I'm not really putting too much stock into that game because the Bills had several key guys who were starters that were injured, especially on defense. The second go around, I expect this to be a game that comes down to the wire. When it comes to the Lamar versus Josh Allen debate, Luke G, who do you believe is the better quarterback, and who do you think gives their team the best chance at pulling off this win and getting one step closer to the Super Bowl?
You know what? I look at this and I really have to ask myself the question of how do you view this? I don't think it's a matter of a quarterback as much as I think it's more so a matter of the weather. I think Buffalo is going to upset the Ravens. I think that the Ravens are going to come out. It's going to be cold as hell. Like, it's going to be cold. And we already got snow coming here in Michigan, right? So we got snow coming here. And Michigan shares a lot of the weather with New York. And Buffalo is right off the water. I think it's going to be cold as I don't know what. And I think that what you're going to start to see is players who were used to doing certain things not being so used to it. Now, I don't know about you. I've played in some really cold football games. When you get hit, your skin feels like it's been slapped by water. It hurts so bad. And I think on Sunday, see, and this is where I think that the NFL know what they're doing. By them making that game at 6:30 at night, they know what they're doing. It is going to be absolutely cold by 6:30 at night. I think Buffalo sneaks out a win and get themselves prepared to go against Kansas City. That's my assessment. I feel like if it was in a neutral site where they was in a dome, I think that the Ravens will watch them, no questions asked, no issue. But the weather is predicting, okay? The weather is predicting to be 24 degrees.
It's 29 degrees in Baltimore right now. It don't get cold in Baltimore because it was around 29 to 30 degrees when they played Pittsburgh last week. Let's not act like Baltimore don't get cold now. It ain't Miami.
But this is the thing. That's what the time say. That's what they say the temperature is going to be then. It's supposed to be 17 degrees by 6 p.m. and it's projected to feel like 9 degrees. So I'm just saying, You talking about in the day with the sun out 24 degrees by 6 o'clock. You talking about it breaking down to 17 degrees and feeling like 9. Yeah, nah, I think it's gonna cause some problems with some people out there. It's
Man,
gonna cause some
listen.
problems for people.
I get the weather might be a factor. I've been hearing a lot of folks say how the weather is going to impact this game, how it does benefit Buffalo. That's a large reason why they're not making a dome for their new stadium because of the weather and the climate. It is advantageous to them, but I don't think the Ravens are going to have like a big shock playing in these kinds of conditions because I don't really think the weather is that different in Buffalo from what it is to Baltimore. It's cold up there too. They got Derrick Henry. He's a monster. Like, I don't see how the Ravens don't win this game. They are the more talented team. They do have a better group of receivers than what Josh Allen does. Like, yeah, they got Amari Cooper and Khalil Shakur, but Zay Flowers has been better than Amari Cooper this year. Rashad Bateman has outplayed Khalil Shakur, and they got Mark Andrews. And the difference between this Ravens team and last year's Ravens team is that you didn't have Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is that closer. When they lost to Kansas City in the AFC Championship, they only gave their running backs 5 carries. They're not about to forget to get Derrick Henry involved in this game. And Lamar Jackson, Luke G, has just became a football god at quarterback. He's having one of the most efficient seasons that we have ever seen out of a quarterback. Josh Allen has played some good football too, but to have over 40 touchdowns, only less than 5 interceptions is a Aaron Rodgers kind of stat line. You know, Lamar Jackson, with how he looked against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the fact that they ran him more than they have for the majority of this season, they're going all in on trying to win this game. And with Lamar Jackson at his best, no team in the league can stop him. And the Ravens defense has played much better the second half of the season than what they did the first half of the year. I really can't see how Lamar and the Ravens don't get it done in this game. They got the talent advantage as long as the Ravens don't beat themselves, because that's the big thing with the Ravens. And Bill Belichick said this too. The only team that can stop the Ravens are the Baltimore Ravens. I get it that the Bills beat the Detroit Lions. They're the only team in the league to get a win over the Kansas City Chiefs. But gosh darn it, man, if there ever was a year for the young legend out of Pompano, Luke G, the breakthrough and to get it done, it's this year. Let me tell you something. If the Ravens lose this game, if Lamar Jackson doesn't get it done this year, I'm not watching the rest of the playoffs, Luke G. This is Lamar Jackson's time.
Stop that cat.
He's
You're
been
going to definitely watch the playoff. Listen, go ahead, get your popcorn ready. You're going to still watch the playoff. It's still much football to be watched.
It's going to be hard to watch without Lamar. With the way he's played, Lamar is still equivalent, Luke G. So if you were to go to create a quarterback in Madden and you maxed out his stats, 99 speed, 99 throw power, 99 accuracy, this is what you would get. You would get Lamar Jackson. This has been one of the greatest seasons that we have seen out of a quarterback statistically. Lamar Jackson at this point, let's just be honest about him, Luke G. As good as Josh Allen is, Lamar Jackson, from a talent standpoint, running 4.2 speed, with the accuracy that he has throwing the football from within the pocket, he's the most talented quarterback that ever touched a football. Am I crazy for saying that?
I feel like it's a lot of football history to say that, but I feel like a lot of people like what they see for what he do. I think that the stats that he have are absolutely crazy when you look at the stats, right? And a lot of that is because they added some help to him. That's great, right? But he's not. It's the cold games. Look at why he play in cold games, all right? And I don't believe in quarterback records. I know that there was some stat I had saw a while ago that was like, oh, he's 3-1 in games that's freezing, and I'm like, yeah, the 2 of them was against the Steelers. Like 2 of them was against the Steelers, and 1 was against the Browns. So you have the Steelers and the Browns, who really don't want to be out there because their seasons are over, right? And no, but when you go and look at these games where it's like just cold, listen, I think it's going to have an effect on him. I think Lamar Jackson is a great player. I think he does a lot of things that you will want from your quarterback position. I just think that with it being a playoff, do or die, any given Sunday, I think Buffalo weather caused them problems. And I think that the biggest thing they're going to do is they're going to really push for their D line to make plays because they're going to move Josh Allen. Josh Allen is going to move. I got them on the upset. I could be wrong on this, but I'm just looking at it and I'm like, bro, 9 degrees? 9 degrees? Where Lamar Jackson from? Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah. like I'm just saying. Like where he from? Like Derrick Henry same way. He's you're talking about it like it's cold. 9 degrees, bro. Have you ever felt what 9 degrees feel like?
I don't want to know what 9 degrees feels like.
I felt what 20 below zero feels like, and I'm telling you, it hurts. When it's like 9 degrees, dude, it hurts. Like if you don't have all your skin covered up, it hurts. You can feel the sweat beads freeze on your. I'm telling you, it's a different beast. And I think the weather is going to play a huge part in this, and it's going to suck. And it's going to be Josh Allen going against Kansas City. That's what I got.
I got Ravens as my score prediction winning. 24-20 is my score prediction. What's yours?
24-20 Buffalo.
Now, the final playoff matchup we got to talk about. We got C.J. Stroud leading the Houston Texans to take on the Sith Lord that is Patrick Mahomes. Can the Texans pull off one of the biggest playoff upsets in NFL history? Can they be the team to keep Kansas City from pulling off the luxurious three-peat? Because, look, I don't know about you, but I was completely shocked at how the Texans just manhandled the Chargers last week. The defense was outstanding, but C.J. Stroud played his best game of the season. The turning point for him was when he had that bobble snap. It looks like he's about to get sacked on 3rd and long. He's rolling outside the pocket, and all of a sudden, he finds Xavier Hutchinson on a 3rd and possible, keeps the drive alive, and everything from that point just went in the Houston Texans' favor. If he plays in this game the same way that he did against the Chargers, and we see a masterclass performance out of C.J. Stroud, he can go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes. With the way this Texans defense is playing, with Derek Stingley being the best cornerback in the league, with how nasty that pass rush has been with Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, and we know that Kansas City's biggest Achilles heel on offense this year has been their bad offensive tackle play. There is a really great chance that the Texans pull this game off.
Yeah, if we're fifth, we'll all be drunk. I don't see them having no chance. And if he were to even attempt to play the same way that he played against Kansas City, it's going to get more uglier than you think. I watched that game. I do remember that play that he made on 3rd. That was a beautiful play. But for the most of that game, he was just not there. He was taking inerrant sacks. He had an interception at one point in the game. Like if there was ever a game that I would show people what it looks like to let your quarterback down, the Chargers game would be it. I thought his receivers failed him and Justin Herbert. And if they catch those passes, those are not interceptions, right? If your running back ain't fumbling and stuff, because at that point the Chargers was for the most part handling them until receivers couldn't catch passes. Listen, I think it's a great story. I think it would be beautiful to see it happen. But I don't give the Texans a single chance. I don't give them a chance at all. If there's one thing I know about Arrowhead, them fans show up. I know that forget Patrick Mahomes. Chris Jones is the real catalyst. And if you being honest, C.J. Stroud took 3 sacks, right? Who's stopping Chris Jones? I mean, don't get me wrong.
Nobody.
And I'm gonna say, don't get me wrong. Khalil Mack got 2 of those sacks, right? Khalil Mack got 2 of them. Bosa got 1, but he was under constant duress up the middle. You can move Chris Jones all over that D line and cause all kind of problems. I just want to know the guy that they're going to task with stopping him, right? Like, who is that guy? I don't get. Listen, as I want the Texans to do something different. I would love for the Texans to beat Kansas City and for Buffalo to beat them, then the Texans beat Buffalo, and then it's the Lions versus Texans. Both teams never been to the Super Bowl. I would love to see that storyline, right? But if I was a betting man, I would not bet that the Texans are going to upset Kansas City. I don't see it. I don't see it. DeMeco Ryan has done a good job. I'm proud of him, right? It's Andy Reid. You know what I mean? Like if Lamar Jackson is the Sith Lord, then Andy Reid has to be Yoda. Like he has to be like the Jedi Master of Jedi Masters. Like I don't give. I really want to see Texans do stuff. I don't give them a singular chance. I listen. Score prediction, all bad things, real bad things. I don't see it. I don't see. I think they know it. They know it. They gonna go in and try their best, but they know. They know it's not. It's not gonna go well. And then you got to look at this part too. The other intangible. You know the referees is looking.
They're always on their side. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
the 12th man.
So you take that, and the fact that they have been making a lot of mistakes, but they came out on top because the other team made more. I don't see Kansas City making no mistakes that the receivers of the Chargers made. I got Kansas City winning this game, and it's not even gonna be close. The closest it's gonna get is when they start the game and the score is 0-0. I don't see it. I know they riding high. Oh, we scored 32 on the Chargers. Okay, you realize? Okay, all right, good. Okay, enjoy that.
I got Chiefs too. I got Chiefs 27-13 is my final score prediction. How much more time do you have?
I got a little bit more time. I got a little bit more time. I know,
cool. Everybody, this is my guy, Luke G's Field Review. Make sure that you check my guy out. He has great Detroit Lions content, and we're definitely going to have him on more over these next couple of weeks in the off season. Make sure that you give us a like, subscribe to the channel. Check us out wherever you get your podcast from, Apple, Spotify, Amazon. The links are down in the description down below. Now, let's segue to some non-playoff topics. Deion Sanders is the betting favorite to become the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And to me, if Jerry Jones makes a decision to give Deion this job, they call Deion prime time, and him going to Dallas is going to have a Hollywood movie feel. I love Deion Sanders as a coach. I love everything that he has done up to this point at Colorado, but him in Dallas is going to be a massive flop. It's going to be a Bollywood film down there with him and Jerry Jones. They both have 2 big egos. They're egomaniacs. I just don't see how it works out. I question if his coaching style is going to resonate with NFL players, because it's a difference when you're coaching college kids versus coaching grown men. Coaching in college, all these kids have this, this, they get starstruck when they see Deion, because it's Deion Sanders, but in the NFL, players aren't going to be as starstruck. They're just going to be like, yeah, you one of the best to ever do it, but you feel me? You ain't all that special. So I really think that Deion to Dallas would be a major disaster, but I see it happening. Jerry Jones could want to go out with the bang, and what better way to do so by just bringing in prime time? He'll sell tickets. He'll sell merch. People definitely will watch. I would want to watch, but I wouldn't want to watch the ending of how this thing would transpire.
I don't think it's going to happen. And I think for all the reasons you pointed out is why I don't see it happening. I think it is a disaster. I don't think that the 2 egos can compete. Jerry couldn't even let a guy that was his friend take the credit. He had to take the credit. I saw an episode not too long ago with TJ Houshmandzadeh talking about it. That he says, you notice how when the Cowboys win, it's because of the owner, right? And when the Cowboys lose, it's everybody else's fault. And it's always the coach's fault. It's never the owner's fault. It's nobody else's fault. And I look at that and I look at the words of Jerry Jones. Not Deion Sanders, when saying that he talked to, Jerry Jones, and he likes it in Colorado. He's happy that he would be considered for it, but he likes it in Colorado. And I think that if Dallas was serious about having a coaching hire, Jerry would say, hey, I'm owner, but I'm handing this thing over to my son to take care of this. I'm getting old. You would get to pick your own GM. I don't need to be a part of these football operations.
Jerry
I'm gonna let you
going out like that.
The problem. And that's the problem. That's the problem. And that's why I don't see it happening.
You want to know something funny? I heard Jerry, when they asked him about, giving up power, he went on this story about, when I bought this team, I ain't just buying it just to watch. I bought it to be involved. I was like, wow, Jerry. I think Jerry's one of those owners that, he enjoys working with his sons, which is another added motivation for, why he continues to make the personnel decisions. But I truly believe when he can't make the decisions anymore and he's just too old, he'll give it over to his sons and he'll tell his sons, no matter what happens, don't you ever, and I mean ever, hire somebody to run this team outside the family. It's mafia business.
I believe that. And I believe that that's why I don't think Deion Sanders is coming there. And to be honest with you, I'm going to tell you the truth. I think it would be a disaster for Deion to go there, just like I thought it was going to be a disaster when Cam Newton signed with the Patriots. I said, man, you could have signed with anybody but New England. You would have still been playing. Because when you go to New England, if you fail in New England, they don't think you can play nowhere. Okay? And that, obviously he got to go back to the Panthers. But even the Panthers only did because they was at like dire straits, right? And I look at this thing with Deion coming in, I'm like, is he really gonna come in and change stuff? I don't think so. I don't.
He'll be a massive downgrade for Mike McCarthy. A lot of Cowboy fans are going to miss Mike McCarthy, not just if they hire Deion, but whoever they hire, because if they don't hire Deion, most likely it's going to be Kellen Moore. That's somebody that Jerry seems to have a lot of admiration for.
Kellen Moore ain't doing it either.
Yeah.
Remember, he was there. He was there.
He was scapegoated.
Kellen Moore, and he was scapegoated. So Kellen Moore ain't coming back. Kellen Moore off rip is like, oh, bro, I was there. You had me there thinking I was going to be the heir apparent, and you held on to your homeboy who did what you said, and you scapegoated me and fired me. Yeah, I don't see him. I don't see Kellen Moore being an option. I'm going to tell you, this is what you got to do. All right? Look at the names that people ain't talking about. Ben Johnson, throw it out the window. Aaron Glenn, throw it out the window, right? I know that they're going to interview Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh ain't going to take that job. He didn't take that job. Not when he got a chance to go back to the 49ers. Excuse me. When he got a chance to go back to the 49ers and not have to worry about that until he get a better option. So that's what it tells me. You got to look at those other obscure people, those people who's willing to just get back in the ring and say, I can do it. So it's a lot of people that people ain't going to like, but look at those first-year coaches who got fired. Look at the Gerard Mayos. Gerard Mayo will do what he say. Right?
Yeah.
What's the guy, the offensive coordinator for the Texans? He'll do what Jerry say.
Bobby Sloat, yeah.
Right? But when you start to go through and look, those people who establish themselves and who know what they can do, they're not going to go to Dallas.
Yep.
Why?
Jerry.
And so at the end of the day, I think they made a bunch of mistakes. They waited too long to tell him he's not coming back, which took them out. So they can't interview certain coaches anyway because they're still in the playoffs. And then the other part of it is this. Let's be honest, right? Just stay with me, right? I think the Jacksonville Jaguars job is a hot mess because Baki is still there, right?
Yeah.
Have our receiver catch the ball and lateral it to the offensive tackle. Who does that? When you sit there and you look at plays where you're doing uh, things like we're going to act like we fake fumbled, and everybody's going to yell fumble, and we're going to hit them over the top. Who does that? That's what people are looking at. He has broke the mold for what offensive play calling looks like. He has put it in such a way to where when you think that you know what he's going to do, or it feels like you know what he's going to do, it was really a move that set up 2 to 3 plays down the road so you could have that same look. Right? When you go through and you look at what he does, it's innovative. Right? It's something that you don't usually see coaches do. On top of that, having a head coach like Dan Campbell, who has made it known to them, hey, we got 4 downs. I don't know what's with all this 3 downs and kick stuff, but we got 4, and we're going to use it. So he's now been given the mentality to say, hey, I got options. So if my third play don't work, I got to play for the fourth. Most coordinators don't really have a bunch of fourth down plays drawn up to where they can just anyone just hand pick. Look at some of our fourth down plays. Against the Minnesota Vikings, they come out and he remember earlier, if you got to go back a little bit to remember, earlier they called a play, a swing play to Jahmyr Gibbs, and Genki, I think his name is, drilled him, hit the mess out of Jahmyr Gibbs, right? So what they do, they come back on a fourth down play, similar formation, I almost think it's the same, make it look like he's going out on a route. Genki goes out there, he cuts inside, nothing Genki can do. He set that up from that previous play that happened earlier in the game. That's what's got the league buzzing about Ben Johnson. That's what got the league trying to say, we want this guy, because the last guy who was doing similar things to that, he got team to the Super Bowl, and that's in Shanahan over in the 49ers. They want that innovation. While other people are playing checkers and chess, he's decided to play a totally different game that nobody else wants to play, and he's making his own rules, and that's what's making him a hot candidate.
And it seems like he is going to end up taking the Raiders job because he did have a conversation with Brady. He initially didn't plan on even giving them an interview, but when Brady called him, Brady won him over. And it just seems like with him having the opportunity to bring his own GM, I really think he's going to bring Chris Spielman. I really believe
that's what I think. That's what I think. I suspect that he's going to bring Chris Spielman or Dorsey, because we got Dorsey there too. So he's going to look at either Chris Spielman or Dorsey. I think Chris Spielman will turn it down, but you know what I'm saying. I think he would turn it down just to get a little bit more time with the Lions. But with them winning the Super Bowl, he might take it. But I'm in agreement with you. I think him being able to pick somebody that he trusts to give him the players that he wants to do what he wants. Yep.
You know what the Raiders should do? If they hire Ben Johnson, they should let him get Chris Spielman and his brother Rick Spielman. Do you know how dope that would be? You get to work with your brother. How could you turn that down?
I mean,
and his brother's a good GM too. I'm surprised he don't have another job.
Well, it depends on how you want to do it, right? And if you do it that way, all I can say to you is this. Another reason why I think the Raiders job would be more ideal for a guy like Ben Johnson is because it's not in the NFC. See, he came back to Detroit because he said he had unfinished business. He wants that championship for Detroit. What he started for Detroit is what he wants to do. The thing that people don't understand is this, though, and this is where I would, if I was a team, I would be a little cautious about it. There's been a lot of people who have been great coordinators, terrible head coaches. Terrible head coaches. I can name a bunch. Mm-hmm. And Ben Johnson is going to get a shot to be a head coach, and he should. I just don't know if people understand that he's going to be able to do, like you said, like the Sean McVays, come in and command the room and get these things to work. You see, what Dan Campbell did to get their attention is everything I'm asking you to do, I'm going to do with you. Unlike Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia say, run the hills. And he got on a four-wheeler and rode up the hill. Dan Campbell said, run the hills. And he ran with them. Yeah. And so those things are different. And I think he's learned a lot from Dan Campbell that can make him be successful. But I just think when the NFL looks at him, he's doing things that is like, yo, what was that? What play was that?
Yeah.
Now look what happened. You had the Vikings who had went for it on fourth down 10 times all season. They come into a game against Detroit the last week of the season. Now they want to go for it on fourth downs. The Washington Commanders went for it on fourth down more than the Lions did. Ain't a single person utter a word about Dan Quinn going for it on fourth down. And guess what? They went for it more on fourth down than the Detroit Lions, and the Detroit Lions did a better job than them because it's a mentality.
Yeah. The last thing I want to talk about with you before we let you go, the Minnesota Vikings got a tough decision to make with Sam Darnold. Do they pay him, keep him for a few more years, let J.J. McCarthy to continue to develop, or do they let him go? I feel like this season was peak Sam Darnold. It was a great redemption arc. He's going to win Comeback Player of the Year, but I think the Vikings have no choice but to move on from Sam Darnold because what we saw against him against the Rams, I feel is going to be a precursor to what's going to happen years to come with him as a starting quarterback. Sometimes you have a quarterback that just seems to strike iron in the right situation. You know, it's a great one-off year, then all of a sudden they come right back down to reality. I wouldn't be willing to invest $30 million, $40 million a year in Sam Darnold when I have so many other areas that I can improve with the amount of cap space I'm going to have in free agency. I took J.J. McCarthy high in last year's draft for a reason, and I feel like a large reason for Sam Darnold's success was the fact that he was getting coached by Kevin O'Connell, who was able to win a few games with Joshua Dobbs. You know, he had a lot of success with Kirk Cousins. We see how Kirk Cousins has fizzled out in Atlanta. If you put Sam Darnold on a team like the Tennessee Titans next season or the Pittsburgh Steelers, I strongly doubt we see him have that same level of play next season on a different squad than what he did with Minnesota. I just think it makes a lot of sense to move on from him at this point.
Yeah, okay. This gonna sound real messed up, but I'm an honest person. I try my best to be right. So let me just put it like this. As a Lions fan, I pray, I hope, I wish upon a star, one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, Elakazam, Elakaze, whatever magical word I must say, I want them to keep Sam Darnold at quarterback. Keep him at quarterback. I want you to sign him to a nice contract, give him a good like 100-something million, right? Keep that quarterback. I like Sam Darnold as the Vikings quarterback. He makes me feel good. And yes, is that bias he's coming out? It sure is. But I don't care because guess what? I want him there as long as possible. Because guess what? He's not a threat. You want to go out and trade J.J. McCarthy to the Titans? Do that too. Pay Sam, trade J.J. Beautiful idea. Beautiful. But if I'm a smart man thinking, and I'm running an organization, there's no way I was ever considering paying Sam Darnold. I don't care if Sam Darnold won a Super Bowl. It was great. Go get your money anywhere else but here. I am moving on with my investment in my rookie quarterback of J.J. McCarthy, and that's what we're going to do. That's what I would do. But I know that he lost a lot of money because of Detroit. Detroit ruined him. They broke the mold on him. When they showed if you put enough in his face, he gonna crumble. What did the Rams come out and do? Put everything in his face. And he crumbled. And so for me, as a fan of the Lions, yeah, go ahead and sign that man back. He deserved it. He earned that contract. Get that man his money. But the football analyst in me says, I was never gonna pay him anywhere to go.
Yeah.
I would have never done it. You know?
Yeah.
So if the Vikings decide to do it, hey, y'all got a fan from me with that decision. Yes, please do. But if you ever decide to switch up or you decide to say, you know what, I don't know if it's a good idea or not, don't worry about it. Don't overthink this thing. Don't overthink it.
Yeah,
Shoot.
with the way he looked against the Rams, listen, I get it, the offensive line was abysmal, but he wasn't no better.
No, JT, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna let's just say hypothetically, hypothetically, let's say the offensive line was abysmal. It ain't 9 sacks abysmal. Even in the Lions game, I can't tell you how many times he had people wide open, and because somebody got in his face, he overthrew it, underthrew it, or threw it wide. Like, no, this is who he is.
Whew.
This ain't the offensive. When you get 9 sacks, that ain't offensive line issues.
Yeah,
Somebody holding
that's
on
on
to the
YouTube.
ball.
Yeah. I agree with you. If the Vikings bring him back, like I'll be shocked if they'll be a 14. I'll be shocked if they even get to 12 wins with Sam Darnold again. I don't think he'll be like garbage, bottom of the barrel somewhere else, but you definitely won't have him putting up somewhat near MVP numbers anywhere else he goes. But everybody, this is our guy, Luke G, host of Luke G's Field Review. Make sure that you guys go ahead, subscribe to our brother. Check him out. Great Detroit Lions content. We've been locked in with him for these last couple of years. And we appreciate you for coming on tonight in spite of the technical difficulties that we had to start.
Technology don't like us, man. They feel like when we get together, we are the perfect combination to create something special. So technology tries to get in the way. That's what the evil part of this
And they not gonna
world
stop
is.
us, man. We're gonna have you on a few more times until we get it right. You can't stop what God has planned.
Amen. Amen. Say it again.
Can't stop what God has planned. We're gonna have you on more time. We're gonna have you on even more just because of what happened tonight.
Yeah, and like I said, it's one of the things where so I like coming onto your show, man. Like I've been rocking with you for a long time. I've been paying attention. I love what you do. You're not afraid to push the buttons and stuff, and say things that's not going to be the popular opinion. And I'm the same way. And I get yelled at all the time for not being amongst the group. But I'm an individual, and you're an individual, and you move and think like an individual. And as things continue to grow for you. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait till when you get so big that you can't take none of my phone calls. I gotta just say I knew that guy. You know?
Yeah, man, I greatly appreciate that. I appreciate you for coming on. Before you guys leave up on out of here, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so you don't miss when we drop new content. If you're new, we're not just the YouTube channel, we are a podcast. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcast from. The